I want to talk about the Black woman of America today and her challenges, yes, but I only bring up her challenges so that we could talk about the solution. And we know it because God came and gave it to us. So we want to talk about the fact that African American women are 57% are obese. Why is this? Some people, I grew up with people saying, girl, Black, we meant to be, we thick, we big bone, we got big legs. That's all. And if somebody was a little slim, it would be like, oh, girl, she needs some meat on her bones because don't nothing but a dog want a bone. So you lived your life thinking it was okay to steadily get this fat that was coming on your body. You stopped working out. You didn't really learn a true workout habit too much back then, because Black women are naturally built, and the men like, oh yeah, she's still, she cute, something about that Black woman. But her sitting on the couch, she just got fatter and fatter. Her health failed her, began to get more diabetes, more heart disease, these different cancers and so forth. Just a mess. And then not liking ourselves, not loving ourselves, and always seeking validation. Everything we put on, we put it on tight. Oh, you see my waist still small. We go up in the church showing too much cleavage. And it's okay. I'm not trying to down y'all sisters, but we look in the mirror to do it. We put on all this makeup to go to church, all this weave and all these things, but it is because we got tricked. So it ain't your fault. You got tricked. And that's why we don't like ourselves. So we seek validation from the world. We need somebody to say, oh, you cute. Oh, you fine. Oh, you sexy. Where has it gotten us? Where has it gotten us? Our numbers are steadily rising. We are the sickest woman on the planet. On the planet. That is a trick. And because let me back up. We may be the sickest, but we also the most beautiful. We're also the most spiritual, the smartest. We just don't know. So we've been tricked to be dumb. Okay, we've been tricked to not know what to eat, not know what to feed our family, and we go on generation and generation just holding on to. I was cute. I was cute. I was cute in that dress. I was cute in that dress, yeah, in your casket too. But what, and that's fine, you be cute in your casket. But what did you do for those people who's left out there that you left behind and they living the same life you was living and getting those same diseases? And we don't have to get those diseases because we were abused, we was raped, we was brought here to America against our will. That's right. All that is in your DNA. And God came to save us. That's right. But I'm gonna go into a little scientific stuff for y'all because y'all don't. I know you don't want to hear all that God stuff. I know people be saying, Jerry, Sister Jerry. Yeah, Jerry, don't be so spiritual. Don't be so spiritual, because you can't be too spiritual to the public, right? So let's not be too spiritual right now. I can't really help it. I'm full. This podcast, anything I do is going to always have some level of spirituality because that's why I'm able to live and tell. So let's live and tell. Let's talk about the trick. Let's talk about the biggest crime in history that only God can punish it. Can't nobody even punish these people for what they did to us. But God, I don't even think they got enough money to pay the 40 acres and a mule. Y'all know how much that is today. And it's about 50 million Black people. They ain't got that. And can they really pay for what they've done to us? They would have to release every Black man out of prison, Black woman, because most of the reasons why they are in prison would be because of the crime that was done to us. That's right. Yes. I guess I'm blaming somebody, but yes. Yes. Anytime the environment can change your entire um person, mm, Yeah, so we didn't ask to be in this environment. Let's talk a little about this environmental gene stuff, this genetic stuff, this thing that could be, is not could be, that is the reason why we are 57% obese black women. Why we think that we're supposed to be obese, that we're supposed to be sick. We eat the same things every day that make us sick and pass it down generation to generation. Let's talk about this. Let's talk about this. So, okay. Environmental genetics selection. So I was studying some stuff. I wanted to talk about magnesium, and then I got drawn into some of my notes. I make lots of notes, you all. And so I was looking at high blood pressure, and I was looking at the RAAs, which is the renal and diaticin aldosterone system. And I was getting into the ACE1 and the ACE2 inhibitors, talking about, I was, because I had researched this stuff during COVID. And I ran into talking about nitric oxide and why Black people are deficient in nitric oxide. And then it went back into the ACE inhibitors and heart failure, and it went into talking about environmental genetics selection. It says the the biological variability for people getting high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease, organ damage, is probably correlated to environmental genetic selection for renal sodium retainers affecting RAA. So I had got deeper into that, and that basically just talks about how our sodium, we have this gene that tends to hold on to sodium because of how we were in Africa, because we needed the salt, because we went a long time without water. We was in desert type conditions at times and all that. So this passed on. There is a theory about it, called the slave gene salt theory, that says that that's why the ones that survived on the slave ship, which we came from, survived because they was able to hold on to salt. And basically in this environment that we are in, we still do that. Some of us don't, and some of us are skinnier, and we tend to eat what we want and don't really be messed up. But over half of us, um we don't even got to do that much wrong. It's just we can't do no wrong really, or we're going to be affected by being obese. So let's talk about this environmental genetic selection. I did a little more studying on it, and I've been doing biology in college now at 53 with my daughter. So some of these things caught my attention because I just studied it. So, environmental genetic selection refers to the process where the environment directly influences which genes are expressed and how they interact, impacting an organism's traits and overall survival. Essentially, the environment can turn on or turn off certain genes or modify how they behave without changing the underlying DNA sequence. This can lead to phenotypic variation, and phenotypic is the physical things about us, right? The physical things, whether it be in your insides or your outsides, it's still the physical. Um, so, um, population with the same genetic makeup, showcasing how the environment can shape traits. So, did this environment here in the United States of America make us obese? I say yes. Yes. It's making the black woman especially obese. This environment. And not even just what we eat, but just the environment changing us, making us different. Whew. Making us think different, making our brains mess up. Yeah, that's why so many people are in prison. They can't even think right. They can't focus. It's the environment that we didn't ask for. Okay, here's a more detailed explanation of natural selection. The environment plays a crucial role in natural selection, determining which traits are advantages for survival and reproduction. Individuals with traits well suited to their environment are more likely to thrive, pass on their genes, and contribute to the next generation. So we ain't passing on them good genes. We ain't passing on the genes that can make us survive. No, we're not doing that because of the environment. We're not in a good environment. We're not in a good environment to pass on genes and contribute to the next generation. Oh boy, I want to get over here to How to Eat to Live and talk about the teachings of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and how Master Farah Muhammad came to give us that, which is happening now, you know. But wow, that's something. We don't have that because of the environment. Let's go on. Environmental influence on gene expression. Environmental factors like diet, temperature, light, and stress can affect which genes are transcribed and translated. Woo! So look, I don't even got to look up transcribe and translate it because transcription and translation is transcription and translation is what something that we just studied in biology because my daughter Shanjira got a test. So it's something we learned over and over again. So I'm able to just quote that. So let's talk about transcription. Transcription is the first, so there's, the DNA in transcription, DNA, this has to do with making um, this has to do with genetics and making of a person. So the DNA is makes messenger RNA. That's what happens through transcription. DNA makes messenger RNA at the promoter. It is initiates this whole thing to get ready to make the protein that makes the organism. So and then translation, which is so that's the messenger RNA. mRNA is made from and the messenger RNA is gives the message so that the tRNA, which we're going into for translation, can synthesize protein. So it says, okay, now you can here you go, make the protein, the tRNA, right? Synthesizes the protein, it transfers to the ribosome, which eventually makes um, ribosomes to go carrying this. The protein turns into an organ, a tissue, then an organ, then an organism. Okay, a cell, a tissue, then an organism. So that's what happens. Goes to the cell. Now, so the environmental factors affect that. So if light, diet, temperature, and stress affect which genes are transcribed and translated. So if a gene that the original person had that's making you is messed up, can't be transcribed because of the environment, because of the light, because of the temperature, because of all these things, because we weren't meant to be here, and our gene that can make us think better to be the powerful people that we naturally are, the makers, the owners, the God of the universe, how if that's not able to be transcribed to the messenger RNA and then translated into becoming the tissues, the organs, then we got different brains. We got different organs, or our organs react differently. Yes, we look different. Our way to digest things are different. We just messed up then. And Are we not a victim of not having enough light? The light in America is not bright enough for us. It does not shine enough. That's why rich people take vacations in the winter to the sun, and we don't. We ain't rich because we don't have any generational wealth. Most of us because we um, were tricked and wasn't given 40 acres and a mule, and we was just like, here, y'all free now, but you really ain't free. So there, let's keep going. Whew, this is some good stuff here. This can lead to changes in an individual's phenotype, even with the same genotype. Genotype is the genetic makeup. Genotype is the genetic makeup. So even with the same genotype, this can change the phenotype. The environment. Okay, we're going to talk about epigenetics. We're going to move on to eating one time a day by the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad and leave it alone, okay? Because that's our solution. That's our solution to getting back to the God that we are. That, because our genes done been messed up. Epigenetics. Environmental factors can also cause changes in the way DNA is packaged or modified and that's what epigenetics is, without altering the DNA sequence itself. These epigenetic modifications can affect gene expression and are often heritable. So are often, something that can be passed on, and it is a modification of the gene. Most of the time we hear it in stuff like, so an example is a corn plant. Y'all know of the GMOs, right? A corn plant with identical genetic material planted in nutrient-rich soil versus sand will exhibit different growth and development despite having the same genes. So that's what's happening to us as Black people here in America. That is what's happening. We have been victims of epigenetics too. First, environmental genetics, the environment, and then also epigenetics, because we've been studied. We studied in the labs, in their doctor's office and stuff. They getting us to come there. We all got to go there to get the high blood pressure medicine, to get our blood drawn, and so they able to do all kind of stuff to be able to modify things, modify us, so that we'll never have no power. That's what they think. But God is the only one that can judge this crime. Woo! Yes, and he came in 1930. He raised up one from amongst us, a descendant of slaves, in the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Mustafa Muhammad in the person, God in person of our life. We don't believe in no spook. We know that it was a God that created everything, but we believe that there's God passed on his godliness, and we believe that the one that said, I'm coming, came to us. God that told Abraham that they will be afflicted for 400 years, and after that time, I will come myself and judge that nation. So the only one that can judge this crime is God himself, and he judging that nation and bringing us out with great substance, great substance. He giving us good things, right? Some say sustenance, substance, but great things. We coming out with great things. So all we got to do is follow the plan that he came and gave us, right? So he gave us a plan of how to eat to live back in the 1930s. In the 1930s, we've got taught something like this. Eat one meal a day or one meal every other day, and it will prolong your life. Do not think that you will starve. On the contrary, you will be treating yourself to life, and a life filled with sickless days. You can hardly get sick eating this way. I know because I have this experience. If you eat the proper food, which I have given to you from Allah in the person of Master Farah Muhammad, to whom be praised forever in this book, you will hardly ever have a headache. So that's all I'm going to read in here right now. So it talks about eating the navy bean, the most in here that we could survive off of eating the navy bean. And the navy bean, we'll talk about that on another podcast because I'll be all day getting into the navy bean and the magnesium. But just the eating one time a day, eating one time a day begins to get the toxins out of our bodies, and it gets us off of living like the people here in America who taught us to eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And so we get all this stuff in us. Mind you, we all messed up. Our genes is all messed up. We can't digest it. We got high blood pressure. We got diabetes because the genes didn't transcribe because we don't get enough light. The temperature is all wrong. We're under too much stress because our men are in prison and we're raising the children alone, or we just can't get no man. We ain't got nobody to fix if a little piece of something break off something, and we hitting our finger trying to nail it. That's stress. That's stress. The stress alone keeps us from being able to pass our beautiful genes to the next generation. So look at the generations. Look at what's happening. And we say, what happened to them? Well, what happened to them is what happened to you because you're making them. But God came to bring us out with great substance. So all we have to do is follow how to eat to live. How to Eat to Live. Just follow this book by the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, and we can get back to the God. We can get back to the God that we are. All right. Assalamu alaikum. Live and tell.